They work hard. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. So you better play the game. So you better play the game. You can't win if you don't play. Dirty game, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. Dirty game, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. You can't win if you don't play. The game might be dirty, but it's okay. You can't win if you don't play. So you better play the game. So you better play the You know that stories come from the night. So baby, what you wanna write? You and me gotta make some memories. So come and write the story with me. Baby, you know how I feel. Come and grab some color with me. We'll paint the city red. Don't care what you said. Let's go for a ride. Me and you got a lot that we could write up till the night's up, baby. Jump in my car and turn the key. I don't care what we leave behind. My eyes can see what I wanna be. Come and grab some color with me. We'll paint the city red. Don't care what you said. Let's go for a ride.
Hello, friends. How is everyone today? Excited to do this? Yeah, my background's not great today. Oh well, we'll live. It looked better earlier, but decided to stop looking great. I mean, I could always fix it. It just bothers me. I'm a little bit of a control freak when it comes to my streams and how I want them to look. And when they don't look the way I want them to look, it's really frustrating. Also don't know where my webcam went. Okay. Facecam. Oh, did they change it? Oh, there we go. I'm all over here trying to fix it. Just drives me nuts when the filters don't work right. And then it looks bad. It didn't look that way when I was like setting everything up, so just decided to change on me. That's okay. We will make it work. There we go. Now I can be all purty. So how's everybody's day? Hope everyone's having a great day. I'm having a pretty okay day. I'm really tired for some reason. I don't know why. I feel like I didn't get enough sleep last night, even though I went to bed early. I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's been such a busy week and I have so many things going on that it all just caught up to me and I'm just exhausted now. But that's okay. Another day to read our Bible verses and figure all that jazz out. I think I might start doing the Bible verse streams at a later time. Like, I know on Friday nights there's a lot more people that are able to get on and stuff, so tomorrow I might be on later than 1. That way I can get all my, work and everything else done that I need to do, and then probably be on at like 8 or 9 Pacific time. And that way more people can come and actually read the Bible with me. Because I know during the day it's nice for me because no one's home. Like, my kids are at school and my husband's at work, and the only other beings in my house are my 2 cats, and they're, cats are cats. They'll just do whatever. So it's not like there's anyone I have to like look after or anything like that. It's just, it's harder during the day because there's not as many people here and they can't always come and see all these. And I know they can go back and watch them later, but it's so much fun to be on here with people that and who make those side comments and those funny things, and they just make you laugh, and it's more enjoyable that way, I feel like. And you can get more into a discussion that way, because when there's not people there to discuss things with, it makes it hard to have that back and forth, I guess. And so I'm looking into maybe changing the time, doing it at night, like after my kids go to bed, so that I have more time with my friends and be able to, hang out and chat with you all. But we will see. My life has just been hectic lately, so I feel like I'm just bouncing around all over the place sometimes, and there's not like one distinct time that really works for everybody. And I guess that's a huge part about being a live streamer, is that you're not always gonna have that time, the same time frames as what other people have. But I think having access to that, because people aren't at work and stuff, makes that nicer too, because I know a lot of people have regular jobs that they have to go to, and they aren't able to come to these things and chat and talk and have those discussions as much. So I am thinking about that. So maybe tomorrow I'll do the live stream a little bit later in the evening so that more people can be on and can see it. And I don't know. I think I need to do more like, maybe not Bible reading, but we can, like, more weekend stuff too, because I feel like a lot more people are available during the weekends too. And I just like having that time with people, you know. I can't stop saying, and like. I'm working on my talking because sometimes I feel like, yeah, I'm a valley girl. It's not, I mean, it's not bad. It's just, maybe it just annoys me more than it annoys other people that I can't speak without saying certain words. But I'm working on it, and I'm trying to be better about speaking more clearly and not saying those things as much. That's why I said I'm much better at making like my animations and stuff, because I will write a script out and I can read that script, and there's not all these extra things that I put in because I stick to that script. And that's harder when you're live streaming because you don't have a script. And even if I did have a script, I'm sure I would go off the script with live streaming because there's always things that pop into my head and make me think and can go into a whole different direction than what I was thinking before. So that is, yeah, I'm just going today. Okay. So yesterday, what did we talk? We were doing Leviticus. Oh yeah, we did various laws. So just different laws. And then we did unlawful sexual relations. That's exciting. Okay, so today we're going to read 20 and 21. Oh, they're pretty short today. I think there's only 26 or 27 verses in Leviticus, so we're almost done. We're almost done with 3 books of the Bible. That's really exciting to me because I think this is the most of the Bible I've ever read in my entire life. So that's, I don't know. It's exciting to me to say, like, oh yeah, I took the time to read these verses and know what they say and not just take someone's word for it. So we're going to read Leviticus 20 and 21. I do the NIV version, so if you want to read along, I do the NIV, but you can, choose whatever you want. It's totally up to you. I'm sure people, follow along in whatever version they have. It's not going to hopefully not change much about what it says, but all right, verse 20. Punishments for sin. The Lord said to Moses, "Say to the Israelites, any Israelite or foreigner residing in Israel who sacrifices any of his children to Moloch is to be put to death. The members of the community are to stone him. I myself will set my face against him and will cut him off from his people, for by sacrificing his children to Moloch, he has defiled my sanctuary and profaned my holy name. If the members of the community close their eyes when the man sacrifices one of his children to Moloch, and if they fail to put him to death, I myself will set my face against him and his family and will cut them off from their people, together with all who follow him in prostituting themselves to Moloch. I will set my face against anyone who turns to mediums and spiritists to prostrate themselves by following them, and I will cut them off from their people. Consecrate yourselves and be holy, because I am the Lord your God. Keep my decrees and follow them. I am the Lord who makes you holy. Anyone who curses their father or mother is to be put to death, because they have cursed their father or mother. Their blood will be on their own head. If a man commits adultery with another man's wife, and the wife of his neighbor, both the adulterer and the adulteress are to be put to death. If a man has sexual relations with his father's wife, he has dishonored his father. Both the man and the woman are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their heads. If a man has sexual relations with his daughter-in-law, both of them are to be put to death. What they have done is a perversion. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries both a woman and her mother, it is wicked. Both he and they must burn in fire, so that no wickedness will be among you. If a man has sexual relations with an animal, he is to be put to death, and you must kill the animal. If a woman approaches an animal to have sexual relations with it, kill both the woman and the animal. They are to be put to death. Their blood will be on their own heads. If a man marries his sister, the daughter of either his father or his mother, and they have sexual relations, it is a disgrace. They are to be publicly removed from their people. He has dishonored his sister and will be held responsible. If a man has sexual relations with a woman during her period, he has exposed the source of her flow, and she is also uncovered it. Both of them are to be cut off by their people. Do not have sexual relations with your sister of either your mother or your father, for that would dishonor a close relative. Both of you will be held responsible. If a man has sexual relations with his aunt, he has dishonored his uncle. They will be held responsible. They will die childless. If a man marries his brother's wife, it is an act of impurity. He has dishonored his brother. They will be childless. Keep all my decrees and laws and follow them, so that the land where I am bringing you, you may live, may not vomit you out. You must not live according to the customs of the nations I am going to drive out before you, because they did all these things. I abhorred them. But I say to you, you will possess their land. I will give it to you as an inheritance, a land flowing with milk and honey. I am the Lord your God, who has set you apart from the nations. You must therefore make a distinction between clean and unclean animals, and between unclean and clean birds. Do not defile yourselves by any animal or bird, or anything that moves along the ground. Those which I have set apart as unclean for you, you are to be holy to me, because I, the Lord, am holy, and I have set you apart from the nations to be my own. A man or woman who is a medium or spiritist among you must be put to death. You are to stone them, and their blood will be on their own heads. It's always interesting to me that a lot of these religions are like anti, mediums and spiritualists and stuff, but a lot of the ritualistic things that they do in like the church are very, I don't know, I feel like they fall in the same category as those kind of things, but the only reason that they say it's okay is because it's from their God versus, coming from a different God or coming from growing up in the church. I was always told that, those other gods and things were demons or like Satan trying to make people think that either God wasn't the only God or that there were other things out there that could give you power other than, God giving you power. But I don't see the difference between God power and demon power and devil power. Like, they all fall under like that same category of like magic and just thinking that things can change through like magical thinking or, hey, nice to see you. Yeah, it's always weird when they talk about that kind of stuff because, they call on their God and their God is a spirit and their God is, all these things that they claim other gods are or whatever. Mustafa. Yeah, I forgot your name. I was trying to remember from yesterday, but yeah. It's so glad to see you. I'm glad you made it here. We just read Leviticus 20 and we're talking about they were talking about how they shouldn't go see mediums or other spiritualists. And I was saying it was always odd to me that Christians were so against that stuff, because in their own, like, Bible, they do that kind of, they rely on that magic of their God, and they rely on these things. But those things that they rely on are only from their God. But to me, like, that magic or that mysticism or whatever people call it, like, there's no difference in my mind if it's your God or someone else's God or a demon or a devil. It's all, I guess, in my mind, because I don't believe in those things, it's all just make believe. But the people who actually believe it, it's weird that they look at it where, they can have magic from their God, and that's fine. But the second they have magic from anything else, it's Satan, like, trying to trick people. And it's like, well, how do you know that's Satan? How do you know that that's not your God doing that? There's no way to, like, distinguish the differences in those, I guess. And that's why I think it's just ridiculous to fight over any religion in general, because mediums and spiritualists, they have their own idea of what religion is and how they think things work. And everybody, I guess, when you look at it, everybody has a different approach to whatever spiritual things that they believe in or don't believe in. And everybody's going to be different because everyone's going to have a different opinion. And that's a big thing. When you look even in the Christian church, if you asked like 10 people in the Christian church who they think God is, you're going to get 10 different answers. And they're not going to line up, because it's going to be that person's opinion and what they've been taught mixed with what they believe. And that's going to come out differently for everybody. So in the end, there's not going to be this one form of who this God is, because this God is not one form. It's many different gods. It's many different forms from many different people. And it creates this, I don't know, mishmash of just all these things that people, they can't see that there's problems with that, and that there's issues that they need to think about and bring up, but they won't, because they don't think that they should question God, or they should look into those things and really find out, who God actually says he is and what he actually does. And the theory of everything. Yeah, because people didn't know back then. They didn't have science like we do. They had, pretty much all they had was observation. Whatever they saw, they had to find a way to describe that. And when you don't have, people who are researching that stuff, and you don't have people who can actually, like, scientifically go out and study it and spend years of their life figuring out what things are, then people, have to make up stories or whatever to figure, just so it makes sense to them. Because as people, we have a hard time not having answers to things, and not being able to say, well, I know this happens because of this. So because of that, we have to come up with answers, whether they're good answers or bad answers. So, and I think you're right. I think a lot of it was people didn't have the answers back then. So people had to make up the answers to just figure out how they were going to live life, because they didn't know. And I think about that, and I think about those people, and I think, what would those people think today? Like, knowing all the knowledge we have and all of the resources that we have and the technology that we have in order to see these things, it would blow their minds. They would just be astonished, and I think they would probably laugh at us and think we're all ridiculous that we fight over all this stuff, when we have such an amazing life. Like, out of any time in history, I feel like I'm one of the lucky ones, because I wasn't born in a time where, I was someone's slave, or I was someone's just someone's wife, or, I have that ability to be my own person, even though I'm a girl or a woman. Some places you don't have that ability. And back in Bible times, you didn't have any say in your life. And I look at that and I'm just thankful that I live in a time where I can have that ability to do what I want. I can speak my mind. I can choose what I do with my life. And that I have all these resources to look into things and not just try to guess and not have answers and be frustrated. So for me, I think I won the jackpot in life because I get to be in a time where, we have TVs and we have computers and we have books and we have all kinds of things that we can just, explore and look into and be curious, and we don't have to limit ourselves. And I think that's amazing. Yeah. It is kind of ridiculous when you think about it, huh? And just some of those things, you just wonder how people can wrap their minds around, these stories and say, yeah, this really happened. But we know, like, a lot of Christians will say, well, science doesn't answer the questions to everything, so there has to be something else. Which, I mean, that's not an answer. That's just a guess, just like everything else. But, people, as long as there's people around, I think there's gonna be some people that will just not be happy without having some sort of answer, regardless regardless if it's true or not. They just want an answer. And I think some people can't handle the fact that there are no answers for some things, and there may never be answers for some things. But I mean, that's one of the great things about living life, is that we can explore that and we can be curious and expand our minds and look into more things that we don't know about. And we may never get those answers, but even just having that chance to look, I think, is worth living, because, you looked into it, you made those decisions, and you came to the conclusions with whatever evidence you had to back it up. So I guess from my point of view, because being an atheist, it's like, this is the only life I have. I want to make the most of it. And, even if we don't find all those answers, I'm okay with that, because, I'm not the only person in history who doesn't have the answers, and I'm not gonna be the only person in history who doesn't have all the answers. Lots of people didn't have all the answers, but I think humanity in general can always strive to be better and to not fall back into just laziness when it comes to education and academics, and actually making sure that we have good evidence and good, I don't even know, just things in general. Yeah, it is sad. And I look at people in my life who, most of the people in my life are Christian, because I grew up in a Christian household, and my husband's family, they were all Christians. So, both sides of my family, most people are Christian, and they're never, they honestly, no matter what evidence you put in front of them, that's never gonna stop them from believing, because they have built it up in their minds that this is truth, regardless of what other people say, or regardless of where the evidence leads. And those people, I'm not saying they're never gonna change, but there's definitely a wall there that's very hard to knock down once people decide that this is what they're going to stick to, regardless of whether it's true or not. So, and it is sad, because I feel like it's a waste of life, but I also can't just, force people to not believe things that aren't true, and I can't force people to be something different than who they want to be. So, but at the end of the day, I'm just glad that I have the ability to choose who I want to be and what I want to believe. And, you know, I'm happy with the choices that I have made. And I just wish more people would have the guts to not be afraid of finding out that, you know, truth might be hard, but it's worth it once you get over that hurdle. But it is hard. It's so hard. You know, I fought against that for a long time when I was in the church. I absolutely would not look into any evidence that made the Bible seem like it wasn't true, and because I didn't want to lose that faith that I had, and I didn't want to believe that, you know, a lot of time in my life had been wasted on something that was absolutely not true. And when you're in that phase of, you know, looking and researching and stuff, it is hard. It's a huge loss, and it's something that you definitely are gonna have to grieve if you've spent most of your life in it. But I mean, once you get over that and you realize that it's not worth the time or the money or any amount of energy I have, you know, when I realize that that's, you know, like, none of that is worth it, and that just living my life the way I want to is worth it, I think my life is better because of that, and I'm a happier person, and I'm less anxious, and I'm less fearful in life about certain things. And honestly, when I think about it, like, it was one of the healthiest things I could have done for my own life, was to leave that behind. And I'm glad I did. And that's why I'm here, because I want other people, you know, who feel the same way, you know, grew up that way and want to leave, that they can, and that it's okay. Yeah, that's really sad too. It is sad that it took, you know, it did create a lot of, you know, countries and stuff, but it also destroyed a lot of stuff in its way while it was doing that too. So, all right. I'm just blabbering away over here. We should get to 21. All right. So we're going to read Leviticus 21. We just read 20 before I, you know, went on that talking point, but rules for the priests. The Lord said to Moses, "Speak to the priests, the son of Aaron, and say to them, a priest must not make himself ceremonially unclean for any of his people who die, except for a close relative, such as his mother or father, his son or daughter, his brother, or an unmarried sister who is dependent on him, since she has no husband. For her he may make himself unclean. He must not make himself unclean for people related to him by marriage, and so defile himself. Priests must not shave their heads, or shave off the edges of their beards, or cut their bodies. They must be holy to their God, and they must not profane the name of their God, because they present the food offerings to the Lord, the food of their God. They are to be holy. They must not marry women defiled by prostitution or divorced from their husbands, because priests are holy to their God. Regard them as holy, because they offer up the food to your God. Consider them holy, because I, the Lord, am holy, I who make you holy." Sounds like a lot of jibber jabber. Lots of holiness. If a priest's daughter defiles herself by becoming a prostitute, she disgraces her father. She must be burned in fire. Goodness gracious. The high priest, the one among his brothers, who has had the anointing oil poured on his head, and who has been ordained to wear the priestly garments, must not let his hair be unkempt, or tear his clothes. He must not enter a place where there is a dead body. He must not make himself unclean, even for his father or mother, nor leave the sanctuary of his God, or desecrate it, because he has been dedicated by the anointing oil of his God. I am the Lord. The woman he marries must be a virgin. He must not marry a widow, a divorced woman, or a woman defiled by prostitution. Only a virgin from his own people, so that he will not defile his offspring among his people. I am the Lord who makes him holy. The Lord said to Moses, say to Aaron, for the generations to come, none of your descendants who has a defect may come near to offer food to his God. No man who has any defect may come near. No man who is blind or lame, disfigured or deformed. No man with a crippled hand or foot, or who is a hunchback or a dwarf, or who has an eye defect, or who has festering or running sores, or damaged testicles. No descendants of Aaron the priest who has any defect is to come near the presence of the food offering to the Lord. He has a defect. He must not come near to the offering food of God. He may eat the most holy food of his God, as well as the holy food. Yet because of his defect, he must not go near the curtain or approach the altar, and so desecrate my sanctuary. I am the Lord who makes them holy. Those ones always, kind of upset me, because whenever I heard that in church, it's like God didn't want anyone near him that was, deformed or blind. These are things that people can't help. These are life things that, could happen when you're born, could happen because of an accident, could happen because of anything. And the fact that God doesn't want them anywhere near him, that's not okay with me. And I always thought about that too, because, there are people who are like that, and they very much, they go to church every week, but you don't see them, saying that verse in church and people going, oh, God doesn't want anyone who's, has a crippled hand to be in church. I know it's a little different because it was the Jewish customs and the Jewish tabernacle, but at the same time, this is the God that you serve. Your God literally said he does not want anyone near him who is blind or lame or deaf or, has any of those characteristics that they have absolutely no way of changing. Those are something that you're born with, or that's something that happens during an accident. There's not magical cures for those things. And if there was, and this God was real, then those things should have been healed in, the tabernacle and the temple. God would say, yeah, come approach the curtain and I'll heal you and I'll make your hand better and I'll make your eyes better. But the fact that he doesn't say that, and he's like, no, you just need to not be near me. I don't like you. I don't like how you are. You need to just go away. That is absolutely horrible. But at the same time, I look at the Christian church today and how a lot of people act like that, towards people that they don't like, especially when it comes to the LGBTQ community. I always try to say that, but I'm really bad at it. I feel like a lot of Christians kind of take that approach as, God doesn't want you to be this way, even though this is who you are. And because this is who you are, and it's not what God wants, then you need to just go away. And that's a whole other can of worms, but that was one thing that really hit me hard when I left the church was, my whole life I was told that those kind of people, whatever they call them in the church, which is disgusting because they're people. People are people. There shouldn't be an us versus them mentality, but there is. But, I was taught my whole life that their lifestyle was wrong, that there was issues with that. Like, they would even go as far to say, I do not believe this at all anymore. But I'm just going to tell you right now, like, they would say that those people have, mental issues and stuff, which isn't true. Like, we know science and stuff about that kind of stuff now, but, growing up in the Christian church and in a Christian school, all I was taught is that those people were rebelling against God, and they were living the life they wanted to live because they were rebelling against God. And that was something that really hit me hard once I left the church, was like, I have literally been hating groups of people for no other reason than a book telling me that this God that I serve hates these people. And that really, I think that was one of the biggest, like, shockers in my life, was just, I didn't have a reason to hate these people, and I shouldn't have had a reason to hate these people. But I was brainwashed to believe that these people were in the wrong, and because that, I have to hate them. Because the God that I serve hates them. And stepping outside the church and realizing I don't have to hate anybody. I can love everybody equally. Like, just because somebody lives a different lifestyle, that doesn't make them any less human. And being taught that as a child is so detrimental to our society, and just shows people that even in today's world where people are being more accepting, there are still people out there that absolutely hate certain ways that people live, and they will try to spread their hate regardless of where it is. And most of that comes from, well, from my background, most of that came from the church. It was very much like, these people are not people because they don't live their lives the way that the God of the Bible says they should. And I guess that's another way that I was kind of freed from all that, was the fact that I don't have to just hate for no reason. And I don't have to just follow this book that says I have to hate because God hates. And, I look at people so much differently now, and I used to be so judgmental, and, like, I would physically hurt, like, for other people, because I was like, oh, like, they're choosing to live that lifestyle, like, they're choosing to go to hell. And now it's like, no, they're just people, and that's the life they want to live, and that's the lifestyle they want to live, and that's okay. It's not my business how they live their lives, except if people are trying to take away their rights, then it is my business, because, I'm a voter, and I'm gonna make sure that everybody has the same rights regardless, because people are people, and everyone deserves human rights. Everyone deserves to be able to live the life they want to live. Excuse me. But it just makes me, it kind of frustrates me a lot when, Christians are so anti anything that they hate, and they don't see the damage that they're actually doing to other people. And it's really sad, and I don't want people to feel like everyone hates them because of the life that they choose to live. Like, people shouldn't hate you, and you should be able to live your life, and people shouldn't, threaten you or make you feel less human than others just because of a book that says something. It's just really sad to me. And, being on this side, I can see how a lot of those people are hurting, and I can see how a lot of those people don't feel like they can live the lives that they want to live. And, I like being on here to say, I accept everyone the way they are, and I'm not gonna stand there and let someone hurt someone else just because their God hates whatever they claim he hates. And I think I don't know. I live in a more liberal state, so part of me is like, I think things are getting better, but I don't live in a part of the country where a lot of people, hurt other people because of, them just living their lives. And when I hear those stories, it breaks my heart because it should never be okay to hurt someone just because they want to live the life they want to live. And it should never be okay for someone to hate someone just because of the religion that they're in. There's a lot of issues that pop up with that, and that is definitely a soapbox that I will stand on for the rest of my life, is that there's no reason to hurt other people, and there's no reason to be against other people and their lifestyles. There's just not. There's no good reason. And I will stand on that soapbox for the rest of my life because I was one of those people who did that for a very long time. And, looking at my past, I'm upset with myself that I allowed myself to, think that way and to hurt other people who just want to live their lives. But I also learned from that, because I learned that even though I was brainwashed into thinking that anyone outside of the church and didn't follow the Bible was a terrible heathen, like, I don't have to believe those things anymore. And because I learned, growing up in the church, because I had learned that and had been taught that, I can see both sides of the perspective, and I can say 100% that I will never go back to being a person that will hurt other people just because a book says that this religion or this God or this deity or whatever hates these people. I just won't, because that's not okay. A big thing in my life is that people and humanity comes first. And I need to be someone to stand up for other people. And I will stand up for other people. And I'm not going to let people judge other people or treat them poorly just because they choose to live a different life. And they don't want anything to do with any type of religion. So, that's my 2 cents for today. Yeah. I am currently working. I'm going to do a collab soon with someone in the atheist community. I'm really excited about this. So I'm currently working on a collab with someone. I'm not going to tell you who, but for my YouTube channel, it's going to be my new animation. So hopefully, I'm supposed to have the final script today, and then I can start animating. So yay. Hopefully we get that done soon, because I think that's going to be amazing. So if you haven't checked out my YouTube channel, Overprotected Atheist on YouTube, I do some live streams. I put this on there as well because I know some people would rather use YouTube than Twitch. But yeah, you can see some of my live streams over there. And I mostly do animations about leaving the church and why I left the church, and things I've learned as I'm going along in this process of, I've been out of the church for 4 years, but yeah, there's still a lot of things that I don't know because I was raised in the church. So, learning those things and getting those out for other people to, think about and look at and really see what it's like to, go through that doubt and go through those moments of figuring out who I wanted to be and where the evidence led me versus where I thought the evidence would lead me. But yeah, I really enjoy doing that, and I think it's been good for a lot of people, and I love talking to people too, so that's a big thing over on my YouTube, is talking to those people. I'm on Twitch, Overprotected Atheist on Twitch. You can find me at OP_atheist on Twitter if you want to ever see my Twitter stuff or send me a DM or whatever. I talk to a lot of people on there too. Let me see. Instagram, Overprotected Atheist. Facebook, Overprotected Atheist. Or you can find all of my stuff at overprotectedatheist.com. Because it's all one spot in case everybody, if you don't want to go searching for all those different things, you can just go to my website, and I've put most of my videos, I think I've put all my videos on there. But it's got videos, it's got books that I've read that I recommend for people who, are doubting or want to know more about leaving the church, or who have left the church and want to learn more. My Teespring's on there if you want to support me through that. Yeah. And a big thank you to all my patrons. I have 3 of them right now, and I'm super excited, and you guys are awesome. I'm so grateful for your support and for the ability to do this. If you want to be a patron of mine, you can go to Patreon and look up Overprotected Atheist. Thank you all for coming and reading today, and I will see you all hopefully tomorrow. If it's not at 1 o'clock tomorrow, it'll probably be in the later hours of the night. So hopefully I can get more people on, because there's a lot of other people that I'd like to see on here. I have lots of friends on here that I just want to hang out with, Thank you all for coming, and I will see you tomorrow, hopefully. Bye.
Tell me where I belong. I've been searching all night.